My brothers and sisters, Yali Madat, I hope each of you and your families are safe, healthy, and in good spirits. I also hope that during this holy month of Ramadan, you are finding the time for spiritual search, reflection, and personal growth. Last week, in his message to the Global Jamaat, Maulana Hazrat Imam said, quote, "As we focus now on overcoming the present challenges, the Jamaat and all my institutions should plan to build for the future from a position of strength and wisdom." Unquote. Over the years, Maulana Hazrat Imam has consistently provided guidance on this matter. And as we look forward to inshallah soon emerging out of the current crisis, let us reflect on what each one of us can do today, tomorrow, and in the near future to ensure that we build strong futures for ourselves, our Jamaat, and the communities in which we live. For most of us, when we think about building for the future, our minds gravitate first to economic matters. So let's start there. While today we are in the midst of an economic crisis, the likes of which most of us have not seen in our lifetimes, in due course, things will return to normalcy. As we plan for this, let us be careful not to equate normalcy with sameness. As the economy bounces back, not everything will be the same as it was before. How we live will change in subtle and maybe not so subtle ways. Often, such changes bring uncertainty to our established businesses, careers, and livelihoods. But just as often, they also open up new areas of opportunity that are not visible, accessible, or even present today. As a Jamaat, we need to heed the words of our Imam and approach this from a position of strength and wisdom. We will be better able to see, capture, and maximize emerging opportunities. This has profound ramifications on all of us, whether we are students, professionals, or entrepreneurs. Our college students should take a long view and not just look at your degree as a path to your first job. Look at it instead as a way to build skills that will allow you to see new and existing opportunities in a different light and to unlock those opportunities. While deep specializations in a specific field is useful, also seek to educate yourself broadly in various areas that may not be directly related to your specialty. Build friendships and relationships with fellow students in diverse fields. The breakthroughs of tomorrow are just as likely to come from deep insights in a single domain of knowledge as they are by applying an insight from one domain of knowledge to another seemingly unrelated one. To the students, as you ask yourselves, what can I do today? A good place to start is by broadening the sources of information that you consume and the people with whom you are connected. Engaging with the Ismaili Professionals Network, the Ismaili Students Network, and other school-based networks is a good way to do this. For the professionals in our Jamaat, economic downturns often present a threat to the career paths and the jobs that we seek for ourselves. If you find yourself without a job or have uncertainty about near-term prospects, start by taking an honest inventory of your skills and gaps. Learn to effectively communicate your strengths using digital, non-face-to-face platforms such as social media profiles, personal blogs, and industry-specific platforms. If you lack social media and digital expertise, reach out to family members and friends and lean on them to help craft elements of your resume and profiles. In an environment where you are competing with many others, often the difference between a door opening or not is the effectiveness with which you communicate your strengths. On the gap side, be aggressive about addressing these. While historically, in-person college and vocational schools have been the primary ways to do this, today the options are much broader. Many leading universities offer online degrees and certificate programs in targeted areas that are very effective in closing skills gaps. Also consider the massive open online courses. In recent years, they have emerged as flexible, cost-effective, and efficient ways to fill skills gaps. Finally, remember that relationships are always a two-way street, and they matter, so take time to build and nurture them. Invest this time. Be a resource to others when you can, and when needed, lean on these relationships to open doors for yourself. In the Jamaat, we have many industry-specific networks, such as the Ismaili Health Professionals Network and other professional alliances, as well as the overarching Ismaili Professionals Network. Start there. If you're willing to invest time and ask for concrete help, you are bound to find members of the Jamaat willing and able to help you. Always remember that we are one Jamaat. To our business owners and non-salaried workers in the Jamaat, these are surely trying times. As we look ahead, we must not be afraid to lean on the skills that have brought us this far. As business owners, we have made tremendous progress because we have developed a keen eye for opportunities that are in front of us and have been willing to roll up our sleeves to capture them. Where the opportunities are too broad or the work and the capital needed to capture them has been too much for one person, we have come together with others in the family and the Jamaat to spread the risk and the reward. These are precisely the skills that will carry us forward and allow us to build stronger businesses for the future. The first place to start is to openly and fully share knowledge and information about the opportunities and the threats that you are seeing in your own businesses with others who are in the same industry. If you come across a product or a process that works or does not work, share the knowledge with others and seek information from others also. Information sharing can allow us collectively to move faster by preventing multiple people from pursuing the same dead ends and by allowing us to leverage new approaches that work. As we look to the future, we also have an opportunity to diversify across lines of businesses. As we do this, let us remember that within our extended families and our Jamaat, there are many talented, hardworking young professionals, students, non-salaried workers, and those who have not been as fortunate as us, who can bring energy, human power, and fresh perspectives to our new business ventures. Many business owners can remember a time when they have been in the same shoes and had sweat equity and talent to offer, but maybe with limited capital or business background. As we look to build stronger futures, let us find ways that can uplift others also. Doing so is not only good for the Jamaat, not only in keeping with the core values of our community, but it also makes good business sense as it allows us to maximize diversification while minimizing risk. While economic matters are an important pillar for strong futures, we should not neglect the importance of social, spiritual, and physical well-being. As I've mentioned before, one of the most important silver linings of this crisis has been that it has given us more time together with our families. An investment of time and a positive attitude are key to repairing and rebuilding relationships that are vulnerable or for strengthening and deepening healthy relationships. As we look to build a stronger future, let us start by being thoughtful about how we spend time and interact with our seniors, our children, our spouses, and significant others in our homes and families. Our seniors have much to offer us in terms of life perspectives, and our children have much to gain from the time they have with us. For many of us, the day-to-day immediate pressures of our lives shift the nature of our relationships with our loved ones away from the deep and symbiotic ones to ones that are increasingly transactional. This passive shift not only impacts the quality of lives of our loved ones, but it also robs us of the richness and the joy derived from deep relationships, activities, and conversations with them. As we look towards strengthening our families for the future, let us start by taking a few minutes in a day, even if it comes at the cost of time towards other things that are urgent in the moment, and spend quality time with our loved ones in person or virtually during the time of physical distancing. Let us be more conscious and thoughtful about how we interact with our elders, our spouses, our children, and our other loved ones, and let's be willing to let them know that they matter to us. Finally, physical distancing continues to be critically important. It is the best protection against the virus. Only those required to go to work or for essential activities should go out. Please do not let your guard down. If you need any assistance, please call the Access Desk. And of course, thank you to our incredible volunteers who are tirelessly continuing to work to support the Jamaat. My colleagues and I are humbled by the opportunity to serve with all of you. In the end, as we look to build a stronger future together, we should take comfort in knowing that in the guidance of our Imam, in the connectedness of our Jamaat, in the talents and resources that have already been bestowed upon us by Allah, and in the relationships that we are blessed with, we have all the ingredients we need to chart a course forward from a position of strength and wisdom. Starting today, let us be focused and thoughtful about how we utilize these assets for our own greater good and that of our families, the Jamaat, and in the communities in which we live. I wish you and your family continued good health, and I hope that you enjoy our program today.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let us begin today by reflecting on the different forms and expressions of love that constantly surround us. Now, although in this current time we may not be getting many opportunities to enjoy the outdoors, let us reach deep into our thoughts and imagination. Imagine a beautiful sunny day where we are taking a relaxing walk in the park, surrounded by green trees, and in one of the trees we notice that there is a bird's nest where the mother bird is feeding her children. The tenderness and care with which a mother feeds her child is perhaps a unique form of love that only a mother or a parental figure can understand. In fact, even if we consider our pets, sometimes the depth of love that we feel for our pets is so great that we refer to ourselves as their parents because we want to offer them that unconditional love. In just a week, we will be celebrating Mother's Day, and perhaps some of us have already been thinking of ways on how to express our gratitude to our mom or those parental figures in our lives that shower us with this unconditional love. As we stay in these moments of love for just a moment, let us refer back to Maulana Hazrat Imam's most recent message. He began the message with, "My beloved spiritual children," and finished with, "Yours affectionately." My beloved spiritual children, yours affectionately. When we consider the relationship that each one of us shares with our Imam, perhaps our response would be as unique as we are to one another. But if we think of the formal relationship that binds each one of us to our Imam, that relationship is Bayah. What is Bayah? Is it a commitment of sorts, an allegiance? My beloved spiritual children, yours affectionately. If we think back to Hazrat Imam's words, then perhaps one perspective on Bayah is that it is simply a relationship of unconditional love, where the Imam holds us through difficult time, comforts us through his guidance, inspires us to uphold our values even when things are uncertain around us. And speaking of uncertainty, if we think back to the earliest reference of Bayah in our history, this was also a time where the individuals in this situation were feeling uncertain. This was a time when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his followers were traveling from Medina to Mecca for a pilgrimage. And in this moment, the followers were feeling uncertain because they did not know of their fate once they arrived in Mecca. Would they be attacked by the Quraysh tribe? What would happen to them? And in this moment, they felt fearful. They felt full of doubt. But it is in this moment of doubt and uncertainty that the Prophet asked for their bayah, their allegiance. So perhaps one perspective we can take away from this narrative is that bayah, a relationship of love and allegiance, doesn't only exist when we are confident fully of everything around us. This bond also exists in a time where we are questioning things, where we are uncertain, where we may be full of doubt. But to trust and believe in this bond does not mean that we never question or that we don't feel doubt, but it means that we choose to believe and have faith in spite of doubt. In Surah 48, verse 10, we recite, Inna ladhina yubayyi'unaka. Indeed, those who gave you, Prophet, their allegiance, innama yubayyi'una Allaha. They gave it but to Allah. Yadullahi fawqa aydihim. Yadullah. Allah's hand is upon their hands. There's a beautiful reference by Nasir Khusro in his Diwan, which is a collection of poems, where he refers to this point in our history. And he says that he remembers this verse in the Quran in which Allah said that his hand stretched above those people who swore allegiance to the Prophet. Nasir Khusro goes on to question, where can I now find that hand, that oath? Whose hand should we touch when swearing allegiance to Allah? My beloved spiritual children, yours affectionately, the Imam's unconditional hand continues to be with us to support us in moments of doubt, but also in moments of struggle, also in moments of pain. Under the preamble of the Ismaili Constitution, Bayah is defined not just as a spiritual bond, but as a permanent spiritual bond, which means that regardless of where our hearts and minds may be in the current circumstances, as we raise questions on what is happening around us, as we empathize and feel the pain and challenges of our communities, throughout this journey, this permanent spiritual bond continues to exist, and the hand of unconditional love of the Imam continues to be on each one of our shoulders. My Jamaat worldwide is constantly in my thoughts and in my prayers. In his most recent message, Maulana Hazrat Imam not only reminds us that his love, his thoughts, his prayers are constantly with us, but he also further reminds us of his role as the Imam of the time. He says in his message, as Imam of the time, I have recommended the Jamaati and AKDN institutions and agencies to closely monitor the impact of this pandemic and to extend support and assistance to the Jamaat and the communities in which they live. Perhaps something interesting to note is that the Imam specifies that he takes these actions in his role and capacity as the Imam of the time, with whom each one of us shares a permanent spiritual bond. Before we conclude today, let us take a moment to reflect. If Bayah is a relationship of love between the murid and the Imam, what is one way in which we can act upon this love or reciprocate this love? There's a conversation that happens in the comics of The Brain and the Heart, which many of us may be familiar with. And in a most recent conversation, the brain and the heart are talking to each other, and the heart says, I'm going to bed. Wake me up when the world is fixed. And the brain responds, sorry, heart, the world needs you. In this time of uncertainty and anxiety, perhaps one of the most powerful capacities we have, and yet the simplest that we have, is the ability to share love with one another, regardless of what our status is of wealth, ethnicity, gender, wherever we may be in the world. We have the capacity to share a smile with one another. while social distancing or over video chat, or to share moments of love with one another, genuinely checking in on a friend or family member. It is these moments of love that bind us together as one humanity and help us to get through what are difficult times otherwise. For those who may appreciate Urdu poetry, let us conclude with the following 2 verses. दर्द दिल के वास्ते पैदा किया इंसान को, दर्द दिल के वास्ते पैदा किया इंसान को, वरना ताअत के लिए कुछ कम ना थे करो बयां. If the purpose of our creation was simply to offer submission and worship through prayer, then Allah's angels were enough to offer that submission. But as humans, we exist for dard-e-dil, to feel the pain of one another, to share compassion and empathy for each other's circumstances. And it is this link of love that binds us to our Creator, to each other, as one heart, one humanity, created from one soul.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين يبايعونك إنما يبايعون الله يد الله فوق أيديهم فمن نكث فإنما ينكث على نفسه ومن أوفى بما عاهد عليه الله فسيؤتيه أجرا عظيما.
I was born into a Muslim family, linked by heredity to the Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him and his family. Historically, Ismailis are united by a common allegiance to the living hereditary Imam of the time, in the progeny of Islam's last and final Prophet, Muhammad, may peace be upon him, through his daughter Fatima, and her husband, Hazrat Ali, the Prophet's cousin and the first Shia Imam.
Sayyidina Nasir Khusro embarked on a physical and spiritual journey after a personal awakening at the age of 40. He travelled across the Muslim world of the 11th century in search of a deeper spiritual understanding. In the following poem, he reflects on the verse in the Holy Quran, which says that pledging allegiance or bayah to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his family, is the same as pledging allegiance to Allah. Living 4 centuries after the Prophet's death, he wondered on whose hand he could pledge his allegiance. Once I happened to read in the Quran the verse of the oath, the verse in which God said that his hand was stretched above. I asked a question from myself. What had happened to that tree, that hand? Where can I now find that hand, that oath, that place? Whose hand should we touch when swearing allegiance to God? Or should not divine justice treat equally those who came first and those who came later? Travelling to Fatimid Cairo, then under the rule of the Ismaili Imams, Sayyidina Nasir-e-Khusro found the answer to his question in the person of Maulana al-Mustansir Billah alayhi salam, the 18th Ismaili Imam and 8th Fatimid Caliph, to whom he pledged his allegiance. The Ismaili Imamat is a Muslim institution of spiritual and worldly leadership that traces its origins to the succession of Prophet Muhammad. In grappling with the question of who should lead the Muslim community, two main interpretations emerged through history. The Sunni interpretation held that the Prophet did not nominate a successor, whereas the Shia affirmed that at Ghadir Qum, the Prophet designated his cousin and son-in-law Hazrat Ali alayhi salam as the first Imam in a line of hereditary spiritual guides. Today, the Ismailis are the only Shia branch that has followed an unbroken hereditary line of living Imams for over 14 centuries. Throughout history, Ismailis have pledged their allegiance or Bayah to the Imam of the time, which is the acceptance of the permanent spiritual bond between the Imam and his follower, or Murid. This allegiance unites the Jamaat worldwide in their love, devotion and obedience to the Imam of the time. When referring to their love for the Prophet's family, the Shia cite the following ayah of the Quran. Say, I do not ask of you any reward for the conveying of revelation, except love for my relatives. The 14th Ismaili Imam, 4th Fatimid Caliph and founder of the city of Cairo, Maulana al-Mu'izz alayhi salam, when speaking about the relationship between the Imam and his murids, is reported to have said, even when you are physically away from us, our souls are together in our mutual love for each other. Your souls are close to us, even if our bodies and locations are apart. This same sentiment has been echoed by Maulana Hazar Imam on many occasions.
I would like, on this occasion also, to tell my Jamaat that the love of the Imam knows no physical boundaries. No mountain, no river, no desert can stop the love of the Imam for his Jamaat worldwide.
This bond of love and devotion has underpinned the Imam-Murid relationship throughout history. Since 1957, Maulana Hazar Imam has devoted all of his time, energy and resources to the spiritual and worldly progress of Ismailis everywhere. His spiritual guidance has constantly emphasized the eternal nature of the soul, the necessity of prayer and constant remembrance of Allah, the role of the intellect in understanding matters of faith, the balance of spiritual and material life, and living by the ethics of the faith. In emphasizing the ethic of caring for those in need and improving their quality of life, Maulana Hazar Imam has worked tirelessly to build the global capacity of the Jamaati institutions and the Aga Khan Development Network, and has navigated the Jamaat in various parts of the world through times of crisis and times of prosperity. Reciprocal expressions of love, devotion and gratitude are found in Ismaili poetry throughout history and across geography. One such example is from the Ginan Aba Teri Mohabbat Lagi Meri Sahib, attributed to Pir Shams.
Aba Teri Mohabbat Lagi Meri Sahiba.
For your face I am all athirst, my Lord. Grant me the gift, that gift of your sight, now that I am in love with you, my Lord. When the face was seen, there was joy at heart. Pir Shams told the tale. Now I am in love with you, my Lord. My heart is stricken now with love for you. This bond of love has inspired members of the Jamaat to selflessly serve the Imamat, including offering their time, knowledge and material support. The celebration of Imamat Jubilees has provided an occasion for the Jamaat to reflect and give thanks for this unique spiritual bond that links each murid to the Imam of the time and to offer their services.
On this most special, auspicious and happy day, Maulana Hazar Imam, we are here to submit two simple messages from all your Jamaats. Mubarak and Shukran. Thank you for your love, your inspiration, your guidance, your compassion and your protection.
Jubilees have been observed in many cultures and faiths. In the Abrahamic tradition, Jubilees marked fixed time periods or other special occasions. More recently, the British monarchy began commemorating Jubilees during the 19th century, becoming monumental occasions in Queen Victoria's reign, during which she marked 3 Jubilees. Although they were not called Jubilees, beginning in the time of the 16th century Emperor Akbar, the Mughal emperors in India held ceremonies twice a year where they were weighed against precious metals. This 17th century painting depicts the Emperor Jahangir's son Prince Khurram, later known as the Emperor Shah Jahan, being weighed in gold on his 15th birthday. The money collected was distributed to the poor and the needy, thus contributing to the betterment of their societies and subjects, rooted in the social ethic of concern for the most vulnerable in society. In the recorded history of the Ismailis, Maulana Hazar Imam is the 5th Imam to attain 60 years of Imamat. 2 Imams of the medieval period are also said to have reached 60 years of Imamat. These are the 29th Imam Maulana Qasim Shah alayhi salam, who lived in Azerbaijan during the 14th century, and the 37th Imam Maulana Dhulfikar Ali alayhi salam, who is buried alongside several other Imams in the village of Anjudan in Iran. The 46th Imam Maulana Hassan Ali Shah alayhi salam was the 3rd Imam to reach 60 years of Imamat. After acceding to the Imamat in 1817, the title of Aga Khan was bestowed on him by the Shah of Persia, thus making 2017 the 200th anniversary of the Imamat under the 4 Aga Khans. During the 1840s, Maulana Hassan Ali Shah migrated to India, bringing to a close almost 7 centuries during which the Imamat was based in Persia. The 48th Imam Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah alayhi salam, known as Aga Khan III, had the longest Imamat in history at 72 years, during which he worked to reorganize the Jamaat's institutions in the face of rapid historical changes. He emphasized high standards of both male and female education, health and social well-being, as well as developing a new network of councils for administering the affairs of his community, establishing Ismaili constitutions for the Jamaat's social governance in various regions where the Jamaat lived. He was also a renowned statesman who worked for the progress of humanity at large. He was actively involved in the independence movement of the colonized Indian subcontinent from British rule and served as president of the League of Nations, the forerunner to the United Nations. The commemoration of Jubilees began during his Imamat with public celebrations for his golden, diamond and platinum Jubilees, marking 50, 60 and 70 years as Imam. The Jubilees emerged from the Jamaat's desire to celebrate these milestones. In each case, the Jamaat's leadership submitted a request to commemorate the Jubilee, to which the Imams graciously agreed. These commemorations have served as an opportunity for members of the Jamaat to reaffirm their Bayah to the Imam of the time and to show their happiness and gratitude for his love, guidance and protection. While media attention during Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah's Jubilee celebrations focused on the weighing ceremonies, the true purpose of the Jubilees has been their long-term impact, providing unique springboards for the material and social progress for both Ismailis and wider society.
These celebrations, if looked upon as mere glorification or even as only thanks given for my 60 years of Imamat, would not be worth the enormous discomfort, expense, and sacrifices they have entailed on some 40,000 people. No, but it has given us the opportunity for which I have been waiting for many years to carry out a fundamental change in the economic sphere of the lives of my spiritual children. Under such circumstances, the Diamond Jubilee came as a unique opportunity for bringing about some radical changes, not only materially, but of the general outlook amongst my people.
Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah's Golden Jubilee occurred on 18th August 1935. Ceremonies were held in Bombay, India in January 1936, including the weighing of the Imam against gold, which was presented to him as a Nazrana or unconditional gift. He declared that he was returning it to the Jamaat for their own benefit and upliftment, allocating funds for overseas scholarships, resettlement from congested districts, and infant welfare projects. The following day, after the weighing ceremony had taken place, the Imam cancelled the remaining celebrations upon learning of the death of King George V, the British monarch and Emperor of India. Over a year later, on 1st March 1937, a ceremony was held in Nairobi, Kenya. The Nazrana was used to fund programs for scholarships, secondary schools, child welfare centres and nursing homes. Notably, the Jubilee Insurance Company was established to provide insurance plans for Ismailis and to enhance their financial stability and outlook. Many members of the Jamaat had little access to insurance or understanding of what it was. So the Imam used the Jubilee Nazrana to help provide the Jamaat with a sounder economic base. Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah postponed his Diamond Jubilee celebrations marking 60 years of Imamat in light of the post-war period in 1945. Two ceremonies were held in Bombay and Dar es Salaam in 1946, in which Ismailis from Persia, Syria, Central Asia, and Europe participated. The Imam accepted the Nazrana of his weight in diamonds.
As everyone is well aware, the value of these diamonds has been unconditionally presented to me on this occasion. I do not wish to take this amount for myself, but to use it for any object that I think is best for my spiritual children. I've come to the conclusion that the very best use in the long run that I can make of it is the whole of the residue must be given as an absolute gift to the Diamond Jubilee Investment Trust.
Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah sought to build a new financial outlook amongst the Jamaat. The establishment of an investment trust allowed for greater financial stability for the Jamaat by providing loans for the construction of commercial buildings, housing and business ventures. The outcome of the Jubilee helped and continued to help the community progress in terms of education, health and economics. Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah's Platinum Jubilee, marking 70 years of Imamat, was commemorated in ceremonies in Karachi in 1954 and Cairo in 1955. The Nazrana was allocated to the Platinum Jubilee Finance and Investment Corporation, which also contributed towards building schools, housing and economic investment and infrastructure in Asia and Africa. Through his long Imamat, Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah significantly progressed the Jamaat's economic and educational outlook and status. His aim was that more Ismailis should be home and business owners and receive formal education so as to ensure the Jamaat's economic stability.
In 1957, I became the 49th hereditary Imam of the Shia Imami Ismaili Muslims. when my grandfather designated me to succeed him.
In acceding to the Imamat on 11th July 1957, Maulana Hazar Imam's Takht-Nashini ceremonies took place in Dar es Salaam, Nairobi, Kampala, Karachi, Bombay and Dhaka.
The years of development and change which lie ahead are certain to throw up many new problems. We should not be afraid of these. You will surely surmount them if you stand by your faith and meet your difficulties in the spirit of humility and tolerance which our religion demands of us. This is especially important for the younger generations who will have to carry the future on their shoulders. Only the faith of your fathers can sustain you and enable you to live in peace here in this world and in the next.
As with his grandfather before him, the anniversaries of Maulana Hazar Imam's accession to the Imamat have provided opportunities for launching significant initiatives and legacy institutions. On the 10th anniversary of his Imamat in 1967, the Aga Khan Foundation was launched to implement innovative, community-driven solutions to development challenges. The 20th anniversary saw the founding of the Institute of Ismaili Studies in London and the establishment of the Aga Khan Award for Architecture. On 11th July 1982, Maulana Hazar Imam commemorated 25 years of Imamat at his residence at Aigues-les-Maux in France.
Today is the day which is much more than many happy days that we have been blessed with. And on behalf of all your spiritual children throughout the world, Maulana Hazar Imam, it is with the utmost humility that I submit to you our felicitation on the occasion of the Silver Jubilee of your Imamat.
On the occasion of the Silver Jubilee, the Jamaat presented a Nazrana which the Imam allocated to various projects in consultation with community leaders.
Let us now look to the horizon of the future. We must continue to build on solid foundations. Let us strengthen today's fabric of institutions and programs so as to have them contribute the full impact of their potential on the quality of life of the Jamaat. Let us address wisely those difficult problems which clearly await and call for resolution, such as the adaptation of the Jamaats, and more particularly their second and third generations, to living in the Western world. Let us think clearly how these spiritual children can establish soundly the foundations of a good and proper life, and then extend their hand of support to their brothers and sisters in less privileged parts of the world.
In responding to the needs of newly established Jamaats in the Western world, the Silver Jubilee allowed for the establishment of new Jamaat Khanas and institutions, most significantly the Ismaili centres in London and Burnaby, which were the first of a global network of ambassadorial buildings. At the foundation ceremony of the Ismaili Centre Burnaby, the Imam spoke of its significance.
During the Jubilee year, many new projects will be launched which will impact the material quality of the life of Ismailis, as indeed of many others. This is the first project to be launched during this Jubilee year, and it is very important that it is a place of worship. The significance of this ceremony is further enhanced by the fact that this is the first Jamaat Khana to be built in North America. It is my hope that it will become a symbol of a growing understanding in the West of the real meaning of Islam.
Additionally, the ruler of Dubai gifted the Imam a piece of land on which would eventually be built the Ismaili Centre Dubai, opened 25 years later during the Golden Jubilee in 2008. Perhaps the most significant legacy of the Silver Jubilee was the granting of the charter of the Aga Khan University by the President of Pakistan. AKU today has grown into an international university with campuses in multiple countries in Asia, Africa and Europe, aiming to serve as an essential catalyst for societal development, beginning with healthcare.
The charter which His Excellency the President has been gracious enough to grant the new Aga Khan University creates the first university inspired by my family since Al-Azhar was founded in the Fatimid dynasty's capital of Cairo in 970, 1,000 years before we laid the foundation stone of the Aga Khan Medical College on this site in 1971. My prayer is that the university we are now building will enable many generations of students to acquire both knowledge and the essential spiritual wisdom needed to balance that knowledge and enable their lives to attain the highest fulfillment.
Today, the Aga Khan University, together with the University of Central Asia, aims to be a major catalyst for social progress and development, not only for Ismailis, but for all people in the societies in which they operate and beyond. Following the Silver Jubilee, Maulana Hazar Imam continued to mark significant milestones. The first global Ismaili constitution was ordained during the 30th year of his Imamat on 13th December 1986, marking Maulana Hazar Imam's 50th birthday. The signing of this constitution, which replaced earlier constitutions in various regions, represented the first time in 14 centuries that all Ismailis worldwide were bound to the Imamat by a single written document, bearing the seal of the Imam of the time. On 11th July 1997, the 40th anniversary of his Imamat, Maulana Hazar Imam met with global Jamaati leaders at the Ismaili Centre, London. He announced that he was making grants to build endowments for the long-term financial capacity and security of the Imamat institutions. On 11th July 2007, Ismaili leaders from around the world gathered at Eglemont to pay homage for Maulana Hazar Imam's Golden Jubilee. For the first time in history, the global Jamaat had the opportunity to view the ceremony through a worldwide telecast. Over the course of the Jubilee year, the Imam travelled to 22 countries over 18 months, strengthening the Imamat's partnerships with governments and civil society, and establishing new institutions. The Golden Jubilee laid the foundation for tackling multi-generational social problems such as the alleviation of poverty, improving care for the elderly, and establishing institutions and Jamaat khanas in parts of the world where such infrastructure was lacking. Building on a long-standing tradition of offering service to the Imam and following his guidance, the Jamaat's Nazrana was not only offered as material gifts, but also as gifts of time and knowledge, offered in service to strengthen the Imamat institutions. The Golden Jubilee provided an opportunity to develop a formalised structure for this purpose, and thus, the Time and Knowledge Nazrana is an important legacy of the Golden Jubilee.
I would like you to understand why it is that this Nazrana on this occasion is so important. It is clear that progress around the world is linked to access, to understanding, to participating in the knowledge society. And what that means is that our institutions should be led and should be offering to the people who use them not only the knowledge of today, but what will be the critical knowledge for tomorrow. And this is why this Nazrana of time and knowledge, of knowledge which is shared amongst the brotherhood of our Jamaat around the world, is such an important gift to the Jamaat and to the people amongst whom the Jamaat lives.
A number of Golden Jubilee institutions were also initiated, including the foundation ceremonies for the Bujagali hydropower plant in Uganda and 2 Aga Khan academies, as well as the opening of the delegation of the Ismaili Imamat in Canada. The secondary teacher education program at the Institute of Ismaili Studies was launched as an endeavour to professionalise religious education for the Jamaat. The Imamat Jubilees from the time of Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah's Golden Jubilee until today have served as unique opportunities to make a significant impact on the spiritual and material lives of the global Jamaat and the societies in which they live. They have been part of a wider project under the leadership of the Imamat to progress the Jamaat's educational and economic base, transforming the Jamaat into a community that today is of national and international standing, that is able to compete in a meritocratic world, and contributes to the uplift and progress of humanity at large. These include the wide variety of activities under the umbrella of the Aga Khan Development Network in areas of health, education, culture, and economic development. Maulana Hazar Imam's engagement in diplomacy and bridge building with governments and civil society institutions around the world to foster peace and a better future for all is widely respected.
The role of the Ismaili Imam is a spiritual one. His authority is that of religious interpretation. At the same time, Islam believes fundamentally that the spiritual and material worlds are inextricably connected. Faith does not remove Muslims or their imams from daily practical matters in family life, in business, in community affairs. Faith, rather, is a force that should deepen our concern for our worldly habitat, for embracing its challenges, and for improving the quality of human life.
The endeavours of the Ismaili Imamat over the past 6 decades reflect the permanent spiritual bond between the Imam and his murids, as well as Islam's ethical responsibility to help the poor and those in need to improve their lives regardless of their spiritual affiliation. As a Jamaat, we owe a debt of gratitude and shukrana to Maulana Hazar Imam for his immense love and tireless dedication towards progressing the Jamaat both spiritually and materially.
As you know, I am ambitious for my Jamaat. I am ambitious for my Jamaat worldwide. Wherever a murid is living, he or she is an immediate concern to the Imam of the time. And this has been my life since 1957, and it will continue to be my life.
Welcome to our home. Please come inside.
Hello everyone, please join us.
So today, we're going to tell you guys about our Hamza stories. That's why I'm dressed up as a Hunza girl, and my brothers are dressed up as a Hunza boy.
You met already.
Hello, hi, you guys looking great today, mashallah. So that's how our Hunza people, they dress up traditionally.
So the hat that I'm wearing is coming from sheep wool, and it's also handmade. If you visit Gilgit-Baltistan, you will see many men wearing this hat which I am wearing currently. It's used to protect ourselves from the cold.
So when you visit Hunza, you will see a lot of them wearing these traditional hats. And they also wear necklaces like these with gemstones, sapphires, rubies, they have all kinds because they mine them from the mountains.
I smell an aroma. Let's go see what's cooking at the kitchen.
Smells so good. What's cooking, Mom?
So I'm making mantu so that our viewers can have a taste of Hunza.
So what are the ingredients?
Well, ingredients are pretty simple. It has ground beef in it, or you can use ground mutton, then onions, black pepper, white pepper, ginger garlic paste, salt to taste. Just keep in mind we do not use any kind of red spices in it. Used to carry a pouch. It's just like that. It's done, right? No. So I need another plate that you're gonna keep here, and then we're gonna make these dumplings regular.
Was your chutney ready?
Oh yeah. So this is a special chutney that is made in Hunza. This is the ground almonds, onions, and apricot seeds as well, because people use it to keep their bodies warm. It's a colder region, and all the ingredients are like 100% organic. They have their own almond trees, so they collect it in the summers. During the winters, that's what they consume.
So do you have to use a special pot for this?
For mantu, yes, we have to use a steamer. Where you see this? So there has to be water underneath it. It's a pot that has water underneath it, and then it's cooked on steam. We do not fry mantu. We do not bake it. So it's purely steam cooked.
So was it hard when we were in America and you had to stay in Pakistan, by yourself?
Yeah, it was very hard for me and for your mom, of course. So because of my job compulsion, since I was in the military, so I could not leave my job. Initially, once we came here first time to the United States, so after just leaving you guys here, then I had to go back to continue my job. So it was really hard for me and hard for your mom to take care of you all three. So yeah, it was really hard. But you remember I used to come like almost twice every year.
Yeah.
And that used to be the best time for me to, spend a good quality time with you guys.
Yeah.
I remember like when you were going for your admission thing, initially.
Yeah.
Like we were just walking around different schools, and all of a sudden, like when Parisa saw a school bus while some lady was driving, and like Parisa said, "Wow, look, Papa, a teacher is driving the bus,"
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Oh my God, yeah. That was funny. And the teacher's driving the bus. Why is she driving?
So it was so funny. And Rayan, one time, you remember, like when we went to a grocery store, we just came new to America, and you asked the person, "Uncle, ye kitne ka hai?" And the uncle, like,
You
the
have
person
such
was
good
like,
Urdu. Was it hard for you when you were in America without like your parents with you?
Of course. Definitely. I was without my parents, and then I had my husband was not here, right? Your papa was not here, my family wasn't here, so it was definitely very challenging and very hard. Plus this was a completely different country. Like back home we have like all kind of help. We have people who help us with the kitchen chores, and we have like family members to help us and everything, and then all of suddenly everything was taken away. I had to give up everything, but I knew I have to be strong. I had to be strong because I knew it. If I don't do it, what kept me going was like one day then my children have to do it. So why not do it halfway for them so that they take it on from there,
Yeah.
So that I think that was the thing that kept me stronger.
So Papa, how's education in Hunza?
well, the education system in Hunza is very good. Initially, like a couple of years, a long time ago, the Diamond Jubilee school system came into Hunza and northern areas. there when the people start getting a good quality education. All right. So I think I have studied from Diamond Jubilee School, and after that we have Al-Khan Higher Secondary School.
We take pride that our grandparents belonged to Hunza, no matter where we are currently born, where our children are going to be born, but we will always connect to each other as like, yes, I'm from Hunza. We take pride in saying that we are from Hunza. When we were growing up, Aka Sultan Muhammad Shah and Mullah Hazir Imam Farami, that's what we used to hear. And he like always put great emphasis on the education of girls and education of women and meritocracy. Mullah Hazir Imam used to use this word so many times. He would be like, there's going to be a time when you'll be valued depending on your education. So I think that was one thing like that was always in our mind, like look, like our grandparents, they migrated from Hunza to Gilgit, which happens to be a city. And then my parents, like my father, to study his engineering, he migrated to Karachi and he did his education from there. Then he had to go abroad to do his engineering. He did that. Plus, same is the case with your grandfather, like your papa's father. He migrated to a city because he wanted to give his children better opportunities. That's the reason now your papa is learned, your uncles have studied good. So migration for education is very common in northern areas. When you will go to Hunza, you're going to see students from Hunza all over the world. The people of Hunza, they are very family oriented, and like cousins and their cousins, everybody, you know, we love each other just like we are siblings. We are not like, oh, that's just my cousin. No, they are like our true siblings. That's how you love each other.
What did you find different about the Jamaat Khana in the United States? How was it different from the one in Gilgit?
Trust me, when I came to United States, you know, like this is a different Jamaat. The people are from different backgrounds. People are from different areas. But as soon as I walked into the Jamaat Khana, the Orlando Jamaat Khana, I didn't feel any difference. You know, I was welcomed. Everyone was so loving. Everyone was so welcoming, and everyone would come to me, hi, how are you? You know, and they adored you people. All those people were like so good. I never felt like I'm a stranger or I have to make my place to be accepted. You know, I just walked in with you guys to the Jamaat Khana and I felt as if I have been here like since forever, and I know these people since forever. Jamaat was great. You guys know all of them, right? And the best part is whenever we play Hunza music, you know, whole Orlando Jamaat joins us. How amazing is that? You know, that makes us feel like, yes, we are one Jamaat.